So the R6 Reload event has officially begun, where they are playing this Pro League event on Siege X. Now, I am recording and posting this on day 2 of the event. I will actually be live right now on my Twitch, Kudos, co-streaming this event with esports packs drops. And you can also get this on the official Twitch channel as well. I will be live today, but just know I do leave for Rio tomorrow because I will be attending the event thanks to Ubisoft. But in this video, I want to talk about a Jager buff, which is actually present on this build. Now, I have confirmed, and it does seem like this is intentional, and there are potentially more changes on the build these pro players are playing, but I also do want to make you aware as well that I don't think this is the final build which we are going to be getting next month when Year 10 Season 2 releases. I think this is sort of like an in-between build. But yes, Jager does have a buff on this build, and we noticed this during one of the matches that Jager's ADSs now counter Capitao, an operator who was only previously countered by Wamai.
This round for Fear X, they of course lost Woogieman and the Blackbeard to a spawn team, so they're going to have all 5 players up. Sledge.
Well, we're about to find out if the
Jager.
Yeah, the Jager changes are in effect.
And you can see firsthand the Jager changes for those unfamiliar. Yes, his ADSs captured those bolts from the Capitao, and you can already see the difference in the fact that he's able to hold on to this position, a key position inside a library, for a hell of a lot longer. They are struggling to deal with him now because of the Jager changes. Welcome to Stage X.
Now, that's very cool, and it's great that we've already seen this in effect on day 1. But it seems like Capitao isn't the only operator Jager now counters. Because I made a post on Twitter yesterday talking about this Jager buff, and NC Jack, who is one of the gameplay programmers, actually quote tweeted this, saying that both Wamai and Jager will now capture the same list of projectiles. I will also say Jackson also did say that there may be exceptions. He isn't 100% sure, so do keep that in mind. But one of them, which is currently confirmed now, is that Capitao will be countered by Jager, which is of course a buff for Jager, a nerf for Capitao, and we're not really sure where it puts Wamai in place, because I've seen a lot of a big jerk reaction online by a lot of people saying that why would we ever bring a Wamai now? Wamai is useless, which I think is a bit of a horrible exaggeration. I think the best way to compare Jager and Wamai, especially going forward now that Jager is going to be counting more projectiles, is look at Kaid and Bandit. At their core, their gadgets are pretty much the exact same thing. They electrify walls, hatches, and other items such as deployable shields and barbed wire. However, due to the fact of one of them being throwable, that being Kaid, and one of them being placeable, that being Bandit, they can have their own strengths and weaknesses, as well as the fact that Bandit has more batteries than Kaid has electric claws, but electric claws have a bigger radius and can also be more viable when it comes to electrifying hatches. So despite Bandit and Kaid having somewhat similar gadgets, because one is placeable and the other one is throwable, as well as a few other minor factors, they can both coexist and are both very good operators. And with this new buff for Jager, with him not only countering Capitao, but potentially even more operators now, like Gridlock, because that is something that Wamai can catch and Jager can't. Again, that is due to confirmation. We don't know that yet, but the same sort of comparison between Kaid and Bandit can be applied to both Jager and Wamai in a certain sense. And I'd actually argue that the comparison between Jager and Wamai is actually more apparent than it is between Bandit and Kaid as well, due to the fact that Jager destroys gadgets, Wamai only moves them. And I think for a lot of people, that is a main reason why they're thinking, okay, Wamai may be a bit useless now that Jager can pretty much counter the same things. Why would I choose the operator which still allows that gadget to detonate compared to the operator that will just flat out destroy that projectile? But there is still a big enough difference between these operators, although they are very similar, to keep both of them viable. One of them being that Wamai has more magnets than Jager has ADSs. So you can technically counter more things unless the enemies do allow the ADSs to recharge. As well as this, some locations simply just don't warrant a valid ADS placement. It can be too obvious and too easy for attackers to clear an ADS, whereas Wamai's magnets, since they are throwable, can be hidden a lot easier. And I think a major point which a lot of people just forget is you don't have to replace one of these operators with the other. Both these operators can be picked in tandem with each other, giving you the best of both worlds. Not only this, Siege now has 6 bans going into Siege X with the new pick and ban system, so there is a scenario that either Jager or Wamai will be banned, so you can choose that alternative operator. It just makes the most sense to buff Jager in this sense because, I'll be honest, yeah, Wamai is the better pick. because he can counter somewhat more stuff than Jager can, because he has more magnets, of course people are going to play Wamai instead. Now that we're bringing Jager's ADSs more in line with the magnets themselves, it does make it a decision that you have to make. Do I want to bring Jager, which can destroy them, or do I want to bring Wamai, who has more magnets, or can we just use them in tandem? So I think people genuinely coming out here and saying that Wamai is now useless is, you know, come on. I know it's kind of silly for me even entertaining those statements, because people have said that about everything since the game came out. When something new gets announced or a buff or nerf happens and people go, oh, well, this operator's dead. Oh, Ubisoft have killed the game, XYZ. You know, it's always that jerk reaction which people have. And people have been asking for a Jager buff for a while now. Oh, but we wanted it to be the ACOG. I'm not even going to entertain that. That's like such a stupid, lazy balance. If you really think that Jager deserves an ACOG, you know, there's no saving you there. I definitely think this is a really good step in Jager's buffs, and I'm really excited to see how this goes. And I'm glad to see that the ADS and, you know, this trophy system, what his gadget is becoming, you know, its truest form, as it probably always should have been for a while now. I will always support gadget buffs because it has shown time and time again that they are the most viable way of upgrading an operator and improving them. I know I use this example all the time, but Thorn, for example, has always been a lackluster defender. Her gadget is very delayed. It's just not very viable compared to other operators, and she's one of the worst defenders in the game. The only time when people started to actually play Thorn was when she got the ACOG, but that didn't address any issue with Thorn. It just gave people an ACOG to play with. She lost the ACOG, and once again, she's went to one of the lowest picked defenders. They didn't actually fix anything with Thorn at any point there. They just gave her an ACOG and people played it for the gun. And now we are still in a stage where Thorn needs a buff. But then you look at Melusi, for example, who got the happy ending, in my opinion, where she also got the same treatment as Thorn, where Melusi got an ACOG. Then people started playing Melusi. They removed the ACOG, but to compensate for this, they gave her the ITA pocket shotgun, as well as giving her an extra Banshee. Now, despite being a 1-speed with no ACOG, Melusi is played quite frequently because she actually has a very useful gadget and is good for site setups. So doing buffs which focus on the operator's gadgets, which focus on their loadout other than, you know, scope balancing, can actually lead to substantial pick rate changes and making these operators more viable. And that's what they're clearly doing with Jager right now. They're improving his gadget to make him more viable, and I guarantee you are going to see more Jagers across the board now that he can counter more things. I don't deny that if you gave Jager the ACOG right now, he wouldn't become one of the most picked defenders, but that's such a cheap and lazy way, and it's proving time and time again that is not how you actually buff a defender. So yeah, I am really glad to see this buff come to Jager, and don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind seeing some, you know, new secondary gadgets going to him, or maybe even a new, you know, shotgun, but I'm kind of tired of pocket shotguns, I'll be honest. I feel like it's just like the same buff as well. Maybe I want just more pocket shotguns in the game and, you know, spread them more a bit evenly, but I'm kind of tired of seeing the super shorty with the ITA constantly given to a bunch of operators. But yeah, I think this is a minor yet significant buff coming to Jager, and I'm excited to see how it goes. And of course, there is probably going to be a lot more balance and changes in Year 10 Season 2. This is only one of them we've seen because it's been in this R6 reload event. Was it intentional? I don't know, but it's out there. They started talking about it. Whether it's intentional or not, they're embracing it. This is a new buff coming to Jager, and there's potentially going to be more, not only for him, but for other operators as well. So as a reminder, I am live right now on Twitch, if you're watching this video when it posted. With drops, we're watching the reload event, we're looking at CJX, and of course I will be at the event. I'm going to get you guys as much information as possible as earliest I can for Siege X, for Year 10 Season 2, for any changes just like this. A video will be here or on my TikTok or on my Twitter. I'll try my best. But yeah, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this buff coming to Jager in Rainbow Six Siege X. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, sub if you're new. Catch you on the next video. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.